Welcome to livingpianos.com. I'm Robert Estrin. The question today is, should you follow pedal markings in your scores? All too often you don't even have pedal markings. You wonder, where should you pedal? And the answer to that is, of course, a subject for another video, but in a nutshell, it's where harmonies change. You don't want to blur harmonies from one chord to another chord, because you get a mess of dissonance. So whenever harmonies change, that's the appropriate place to change pedal. But what about when you do have pedal indications in the score? Well, this comes down to two factors. Are they the composer's markings or are they editor's markings? Well, very, very few composers wrote pedal markings in many scores. Most of pedal markings you're going to find are going to be editor's markings. And these can be taken, you can try them, but really I would, for the most part, ignore them unless you find them helpful. Now, what about when composers write pedal markings? There are some places where Beethoven wrote pedal markings, for example. Even then, with Beethoven as a good example, the piano was a very different instrument in Beethoven's lifetime. As a matter of fact, the piano was a very different instrument early in Beethoven's life than later in his life. The piano was evolving. And the pedaling that worked for Beethoven's piano doesn't necessarily work quite well in the modern piano. Well, what about for later composers? If you have composers who are late 19th century or 20th century composers writing pedaling in, should you follow them? Well, somewhat. Sometimes you'll have markings for the una corda pedal, the soft pedal. Should you follow those? Well, in regards to the una corda pedal, on some pianos, the soft pedal does almost nothing. On a new piano, for example, where the hammers aren't grooved, the change of the position of the hammer makes so little difference. Whereas other pianos, it can make a dramatic difference in tone if the hammers are very heavily grooved and you push the pedal and the hammers move over as they do on a grand piano, as you probably noticed how the action moves, and the hammers move. That puts the soft felt striking the strings, getting a nice tonal change. Well, did the composer make these una corda markings for a piano with a dramatic change or with a subtle change? You have to weigh that in whether you follow the markings exactly. Now, in regards to the sustain pedal, there again, different pianos have different levels of sustain. Different rooms have different levels of reverb. And the composer may or may not have been a great interpreter of their own music. So I would say pedal markings are suggestions. Try them by all means when their composer wrote them, certainly, and even if editors wrote them. But if they don't work for you, don't feel compelled to follow pedal markings in your score, because they may or may not work on your piano, in your room, and in the whole style that you're trying to achieve in your playing. So I hope this is helpful for you. Again, I'm Robert Estrin. This is livingpianos.com, your online piano resource. And for more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell and the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It brings these videos to more people. I'm Robert Estrin saying thank you to all of you.